Set grade R. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Reinette Lombard. I'm one of the authors of the Tippie series. And the only reason you see me so often on your screen is because I'm the one that talks the most. So I also have a very special guest and a co-author that I'm going to introduce to you a bit later today. Um, but to kick off this afternoon's session, ready, set, grade R. And what is included and what do we recommend for the grade R classroom? And when I talk about a grade R classroom, I'm also including all our homeschoolers and our moms that are sometimes teachers and that are sometimes moms that try to support their children's learning at home. For grade R, we recommend the following publications. Publications are those Tippie products that you can purchase from all good bookstores. And if you would like to buy them in bulk for your grade R classroom, you can contact any of the LAPA agents. You can visit LAPA's site, Klaskameraad, or you can send an email to me. But these publications that are available and recommended for grade R includes Learn to Do, the Write and Wipe activity books, Tippie Learns Sounds, a box set with 26 activity books. Then we have Learn to Read, Level R, and Level R. Tippie does maths, as well as very, very exciting news. Teacher guides for both English, grade R, and English and maths, level R. And today I'm going to talk specifically about the English publications for this webinar. But as you know, Tippie is proudly bilingual, so daar is ook leer my doen, die skryf en uitvee, Tippie leer klanke, leer my lees vlak RR en vlak R, Tippie doen wiskunde en dan gaan daar ook Afrikaanse onderwysersgidse wees vir graad R, Afrikaans huistaal en vir Tippie doen wiskunde vlak R, waarna jy kan uitsien. These words from Ignacio Estrada stands behind everything we do for Tippie, and especially for our grade R learners. If a child can't learn the way we teach, we should teach the way they learn. And this is Tippie's philosophy. And this philosophy comes from my experience as a remedial therapist with a very special interest in early childhood development, as well as my specialization in neurodiversity and specifically autism spectrum disorders. So this is what guides every single publication that we do for Tippie. Ready, set, grade R. First of all, I want to ask you a question. Do we need to teach in grade R? What do we need to teach in grade R? And then the Bella Bull. So those are three very big questions. And I believe that it is necessary that we have a more formal and structured approach to get children ready for formal learning in grade 1. But there's certain skills, certain things that we need to focus on to ensure that children are ready to start their formal learning in grade 1. And grade R gives us this opportunity to work on those prerequisite skills. Tippie does it in his own and unique way. Why do we need to do this? We need to keep in mind that child development has remained the same. Children are developmentally ready at certain stages to quickly and easily learn new skills. But the expectations and the outcomes that especially the CAPS curriculum require, those outcomes and expectations have changed. And whether we like it or not, we need to do certain things to prepare kids for formal learning, but we can do it in a different way. Then, just as a side note, this generation is called Generation Alpha. And Generation Alpha is weird and wonderful, but they are wired differently. They learn optimally when we do things differently to the way that it's been done for many, many years. Curriculum. When we talk about curriculum in general in South Africa, in our primary schools, we generally refer to the CAPS curriculum. CAPS has many good things and many things that are not so great. But CAPS is the national curriculum, and whether we like it or not, we have to work within that curriculum framework. However, curriculum is what children should learn, not how children should learn. And Tippie does the how differently. And for each of those publications that are recommended for grade R, the how is done differently, even though the what aligns to the national curriculum. Curriculum outcomes. We believe that our curriculum outcomes should be functional and meaningful. There is always method to our madness. In every single publication for Tippie, there's a reason why we did things in a specific way. But we need to think differently. Is there a right or a wrong? Absolutely not. There is simply a different. And that different approach often looks quite strange, but it has meaning. What skills are required for grade 1? And I think that is one of the things that are consistently popping up in our grade 1 classrooms at the beginning of the year, that children need certain skills to be able to start their formal learning. And often those skills are lacking because there's not a structured approach for grade R. And luckily today we're talking about everything grade R, which focuses on those prerequisite skills that are necessary for children to start learning formally in grade 1. One of the things that still lacks in a lot of our primary schools in South Africa is that the Bella Bill has been signed. Grade R is now formally part of the foundation phase, but many of our schools don't yet have grade R or offer grade R in those primary schools. If you are a grade 1 teacher, please engage with your feeder schools because grade R forms part of the foundation phase. So that engagement between grade R and grade 1 is extremely important. And I think we don't focus enough on the bridge between grade R and grade 1. Is it an easy fix? Absolutely not. I know that there are many, many challenges in many of our communities and in our provinces. But I do think that when we look at learning and at the foundation phase, we need to acknowledge that the foundation phase consists of 4 years, grade R, 1, 2, and 3. And if those 4 grades work together with a sequential and progressive approach, then our kids will have a solid foundation at the end of the foundation phase. Play is the work of the child. With grade R being formally included in education, we still need to focus and keep in mind that children learn best through play at that developmental stage. And that is why Tippie is fun and engaging, interactive, hands-on, and that the majority of the learning material is there to guide the adult to support learning for the grade R child. And now I can only think of leer speel speel saam met Tippie, learning through play, through fun, interactive activities. And everything you need for grade R is included in those publications. We don't have to do thousands of worksheets. There's loads of practical ideas and concrete ways in which we can ensure that those foundational skills are developed during grade R. What do we always consider? We know that children learn optimally when they learn through concrete experiences. Only once they've had those concrete learning experiences do we move to schematic and then to abstract learning. But in grade R, we try to keep it between concrete and schematic activities. We also know that we need progressive development, a solid foundation, as well as the prerequisite skills and prior knowledge that are necessary. So the first thing that we recommend, or the first publication that's recommended for grade R, for learning readiness skills, for the prerequisite skills, is Learn to Do. And Learn to Do is a beautiful big box set with 10 activity books where kids learn through concrete and schematic activities with clear progression. Learn to Do also gives an opportunity to develop theme-based knowledge, and it integrates really, really nicely with life skills. Quickly showing you what is included in Learn to Do. The first book you'll see, we start off with 4 colors, 4 basic shapes, and then we progressively move through the books, clear visual structure. And again, learn to do is not something that we're going to give to a grade R child. It is something that guides us with appropriate activities and ideas to focus on those early prerequisite skills for learning, supporting fine motor skills, perceptual skills, both auditory and visual perceptual skills. Same and different. You'll see those little brain blocks at the bottom. That explains to you as the teacher or as the parent of why it is important to find a picture that is not the same. Cutting activities, making finger puppets, finding items in the bedroom. But again, this is not the text that you see on the page are there for you as an adult. It's not for the grade R child to read. The activities are there for them to do with your guidance. But every single activity has a specific purpose. This is a little bit later in Learn to Do, and now we've included extra skills, more colors. So there is, again, very clear progression from book 1 through to book 10 of Learn to Do. And if you've worked through book 1 to 10, then you will have those prerequisite skills: joint attention, shared enjoyment, the fine motor skills, cutting skills. And it's bright, it's colorful, and relevant, linking to the themes in the curriculum. So Learn to Do, focusing on early learning skills. Then language, rely on vocabulary. If I started speaking to you in isiZulu this afternoon, a lot of you would be able to hear me, but there would be no understanding. There would be no comprehension or shared meaning. And a lot of children in our South African homes and classrooms are language and experience poor. That means our kids have limited vocabulary. And there's a lot of reasons for this. But one of the big reasons are socioeconomics, but also parental involvement. Parents that work and doesn't have the time or the energy at the end of the day to sit with their kids, to read to them daily. And then also academic language. So many of our kids has a home language and an academic language. And that can also limit vocabulary, that differentiation or that difference between home language education and having an academic language. New research shows that Generation Alpha are being exposed to a lot of screen time. And again, screen time has a place. Screen time can be functional. Screen time can be the difference between a cold cup of coffee or a hot cup of coffee. But overexposure to screen time before the age of 2 changes the brain structure. And those kids learn in a different way. And then also neurodiversity is one of the things that we need to consider. 20 years ago, when I specialized in autism, 1 in every 110 kids were on the spectrum. Today, it is as many as 1 in every 10 children that are neurodiverse. I told you, Generation Alpha, weird and wonderful, but we continuously think differently about teaching and learning this generation. Often I get asked the question, why does Tippie do maths? Tippie does maths because language rely on vocabulary. Math requires language. And because our kids struggle with vocabulary, because their vocabulary is very limited, they also tend to struggle with math. So maths and language go hand in hand, and that is why Tippie does maths. This is one of the most beautiful sayings, that children should hold maths in their hands before they can hold it in their heads. And Tippie does maths does exactly that. Level R, Tippie does maths, is for grade R maths. This is what you can expect in Tippie does maths, level R. Again, we work in multiples of 10. So Tippie does maths, level R, consists of 10 math books that focuses on the curriculum outcomes for grade R for the entire year. But Tippie does maths differently. We do maths within themes. Again, you can't give a grade R child a Tippie does math book and expect them to do the activities. The Tippie does math activity books are meant to be a guide, something that you as the adult work through over the course of a year with a child or the children in your classroom. But Tippie does maths include absolutely everything that you need to do maths concretely. There's things that you need to cut out and build, but it's all in the back of the books, and I'm going to show that to you now. In September this year, there will be a teacher's guide for Tippie does math. Ashley Harler compiled the teacher's guide that will introduce you to Tippie does maths. This guide you can think of as everything that you need to step by step, week by week, term by term, to be able to use Tippie does maths effectively for your child or in your classroom. The teacher resources, the notes for the teachers, the time allocation, assessment guidelines, your weekly lesson plans, as well as additional examples and concrete step-by-step guidance for each of the math outcomes are included in this teacher guide. Hierdie gids gaan ook in Afrikaans beskikbaar wees. Tippie doen wiskunde, vlak R, fokus op dieselfde vaardighede en uitkomstes. That is what the box set look like. Again, we're working within specific themes, specific concepts, loads of visual structure, and your brain block at the bottom. Practice this activity by playing something like Tippie says, sit under the table. So your concrete and schematic guided activities are included. In the back of the book, you have your schematic cutouts. Build your own dice, so you don't have to find a dice to play the different activities. Cut and fold your own box. Again, the clear progression, gradually including additional activities, working with the 10 frames, story sums. Grade R child is not going to read the story sums. You as the adult are going to read the story sum, you're going to cut out the pictures, and you physically going to use the pictures of the farm animals to concrete, hands-on, interactively start manipulating to answer the story sums. At the beach, again, all your concepts, everything that you need, your practical application, position in space, full and empty, making it as concrete as possible. Can we introduce fractions to grade R? Absolutely. But we do it in a different way. Measurement. These are fractions. And then we can start introducing time, making a clock. And that, very briefly and shortly, is Tippie Does Maths and everything you can look forward to in the teacher guides that will be available in September. Foundation phase. In the foundation phase, children learn to read so that children can read to learn in the intermediate phase. But the foundation phase includes grade R 1, 2, and 3. Part of learning to read already starts in grade R, but it looks different to learning to read in the grade 1 school year. The most important thing and the biggest gift you can give to a grade R child is sounds. Reading relies on letter sounds. A, B, K, D. And that comes from years and years and years of research that a phonics approach to learning to read is still the best and most effective approach. The science of reading is the latest buzzword in a lot of our provinces, in a lot of our schools and our classrooms. The science of reading is a philosophy, a way of thinking, and a body of research on how children optimally learn to read. And Tippie incorporates that brain-based learning strategies in everything that we do. Super, super excitement. Grade R teacher guide. And those guides will be available not in September, as I incorrectly typed there, but in January 2026. They're going to the printers in September, towards the end of September. But now I would love to introduce you to Monique. Monique, kom, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, what your experience and your background is, before we delve into everything for English home language in grade R.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Reinette. My name is Monique Snyders. I live in Cape Town. I've got 20 years primary school teaching experience. I'm no longer teaching though, but for the last 8 years of my teaching, I spent teaching grade R, and I've been collaborating with the Tippie and the team and all their awesome resources since 2004 now. And I'm very excited about the current projects that we're working on and very excited for you to hear about them.
Fantastic. Thank you, Monique. And it is a wonderful honor and privilege to have you as part of the Tippie family. Monique is working on the teacher's guide, and she's going to talk to you or tell you a bit more about everything that is included in the grade R teacher's guide for English home language. Why do we call it English home language? Because we believe that in grade R, we need to only focus on the child's home or academic language. I think I should maybe change that to English academic language, because it's not necessarily a child's home language, but the language in which they are going to be taught on their education journey. Give us a thumbs up if you think academic language is a better description. So, for English academic language, included in the teacher guide. Oh, I love those thumbs. I see them all over my screen. Yes, it makes sense. Monique, we need to keep that one in mind.
Absolutely.
Included and written into this teacher's guide are the Write and Wipe books. Book 1, 2, 3, and 4, because those books are developmentally appropriate. I love the Write and Wipe series. It is such a valuable resource. It's reusable. They are encapsulated. And again, they support those early learning skills and the prerequisite skills, the writing patterns, your visual perception skills, numbers and digits, and letter formation. The Write and Wipe series is co-authored by Deirdre van Wijngaard. She's an occupational therapist. She lives in Stellenbosch, and this resource or these publications will be included with practical strategies on how to use them, when to use them, why to use them in the grade R teacher guides. Dieselfde geld natuurlik ook vir die skryf en uitvee boek 1 tot 4. That's an example of the number and digits, the visual structure that is clear in those books. This is an example of, or an extract from the letter formation. You'll see very clearly the visual structure, the beginning and end points for our letter formation. But then you'll also see that our letters are used within 3-letter words. Why do we do that? Because we want to use letters and sounds that will eventually lead us to children learning to read decodable books. The picture and text link then also supports vocabulary because it's not necessarily children's home language, but their academic language. And I absolutely, absolutely love the Write and Wipe and everything that it stands for and how it builds on one another until we eventually get to the back of it, where kids have practiced all their letters and can now start practicing writing simple three-letter words. Earlier, I said the biggest gift you can give to grade R learners is sounds. Tippie Learns Sounds is a unique and different way that we support learning phonics the Tippie way. We recommend Tippie Learns Sounds for the entire grade R here. Tippie Learns Sounds, again, was co-authored by Deirdre van Wijngaard, an occupational therapist. And there is method in everything that we do in Tippie Learns Sounds. 26 activity books in the box set, focusing on discrimination, figure ground, your associations, your letter formation, your visual perception, your auditory perception, functional learning, vocabulary, as well as form and space. Again, with loads of visual structure. So, why 26 activity books in Tippie Learns Sounds? Tippie Learns Sounds does not give you the order in which children should learn their sounds. Tippie skryf nie voor in watter volgorde klankvaslegging moet gebeur nie. There's lots of different ways. Lots of people choose to use this a, t, a, n. But then there's other people that believe in using the patterns in which letters are formed. So your v, your w, your a. Or some people choose to start with vowels. There's no right or wrong. There's simply a difference. And the 26 activity books gives you that choice, that freedom to use them in the order that you would like to use them. Tippie Learns Sounds, the B book, we introduce both capitals, capital and lowercase letters, because children need to learn to write their names. So they need to know what a capital sound letter look like. We also use multiple associations. So B for bud, ball, balloon, and banana. Color your picture. You have bed as well. Those multiple associations ensures that children focus on the sound and that they don't then read bud, apple, tank. And that is why we use those multiple associations. Vocabulary, which words start with a B? Truly South African content, again, clear visual structure, lots of reinforcement. Use a blue crayon to trace the B. Why do we encourage clear visual structure? So from your visual perception, your writing patterns, again, your three-letter words, your visual perceptual skills, form constancy, figure ground perception and scanning, auditory discrimination, beginning sounds, end sounds. Everything has been included. All the skills required for her holistic, eclectic approach to learning sounds. Different fonts for the B. Why? Because the text in our environment doesn't just appear in the standard grade R or grade 1 font. Again, everything you need at the back of the book, but age-appropriate activities. Concrete, tangible. This activity with a B, letter recognition, and fine motor skills. Decorate the B. Tear and scrunch brown paper into small pieces before you glue them onto the letters. Auditory perception. Does the picture start with a B or a D? Color the pictures. Glue them. And for each of those sounds, there are specific activities focusing on a lot of those skills. As much as we can, we focus on learning sounds, and then in the last 3 books, sounds 1, 2, and 3, we start putting those sounds together, giving a little bit less structure with 3-letter words. Why? Because in grade 1, we want children to start reading decodable readers with the letter sounds that they've learned in Tippie Learns Sounds. This is the last book, Emergent Reading, again, with interactive activities. As part of the teacher guide, we're also using Learn to Read Level RR that focuses on developing vocabulary. Those will be available in January, and then the Learn to Read Level R Emergent Readers. Level RR and R are recommended for grade R, but their purpose, their method is different to the level 1 to level 6 readers. Level RR and level R are not decodable readers. Level R, contextual vocabulary. Level RR for emergent literacy. The idea, the purpose of this is linking text with images, focusing on reading behavior, and then a shocking national statistic is that only 35% of children starting school have more than one book in the household. So the purpose of these level RR and R readers are reading readiness, reading behavior, holding a book the right way up, turning pages, understanding that images and text has meaning. It's not for children to read independently. It is reading readiness readers. Again, something that you as the adult will do with your child. The great news, however, is that everything that I've said to you now will be included in the teacher guides. And Monique is going to tell us what you can expect in these English academic language grade R guides. Monique, tell us. I'm so
Thank
excited.
Thanks, Reinette. Yeah, so you will see the teacher's guides, and you can pop onto the screen you are on, Reinette. Thank you, the lesson plan. So the lesson plans are broken down on the first page. This, for example, is week 21. So that will be your first week of term 3. So there are 10 weeks per term worth of lesson plans and activities designed specifically with the learner guide, not the learner guides, the leveled readers, and they are integrated with the maths DBE as well as the life skills themes. So the listening and speaking, there's examples of what you can discuss with your class. They're based on posters, which you can use part of the discussion. Then there's the shared reading, which goes based on the leveled R readers. Level R readers. As you can see that it'll say book 1, I am Tippie, and it gives you an instruction of what the teacher does, what the focus is, what the learner will do. On the next page, Reinette, we move onto rotation activities. And as you all know, this is where all the work, the preparation, the time comes in, and we are trying to lighten your load by creating some of these resources for you, as well as using the books that Reinette has spoken about. So there's a 5-day rotation. Group 1, as you can see on the Monday, does a read and write, and so you can see, and so they rotate through the activities for that week. And then we end with story time, which there will be an anthology, and the teacher can use that. It should directly link to the theme of that week if the anthology story text is applicable. And then we've just basically put something there about Tippie time, which is just an exciting little day filler, like you'd have your little call outs in class just to get conversation going and engagement in a fun way. So what time is it? The teacher shouts and the class goes, it's Tippie time, and the teacher can go with any prompt she wants relating to whatever it was. The fire truck drove past. When last did you see a fire truck? What sound does a fire truck start with? What, etc. And so you can go on. Let's have a look at the resources, please, Reinette, on the next page. So here are the resources. So these two are teacher guided. We also have them in color, which can be downloaded on Curious Reader. And those, they are the color ones. So we have the photocopier ones in the guide. Those can be printed. The teacher can color them in, laminate them, or go onto Curious Readers and download the color version and laminate it and make use of that. So for example, with these, she'd cut them out, put them down, they'd discuss the names of the characters, who's Tippie, Tippie starts with what sound, Bud starts with what sound, a little discussion, introduce the sight card words and go through those, build little sentences, look at what letters have, and there's a mistake there, which we will correct. I see Reinette with but the capital letters would start. What does a sentence start with? A capital letter. Where are the green letters? Identify them, put them to the front, build the sentence, make the sentence, and then the learners go back to the read and write, which if we can go back to Reinette, if you just go up again, then they will follow on with the read and write. While the teacher is busy with that, the other groups can go on with the other activities. So that is basically the lesson plan for week 21 at this point. I'm very excited to continue working and developing. There are a lot of other ideas we're still working on, but all very exciting. The resources are awesome that I've got from Reinette and that Tippie already have created. I'm excited for teachers. I'm excited for moms, dads, even at home who are homeschooling. This is going to be awesome for you, and we hope it's going to lighten your load. And as I said to Reinette, when I started grade R, the first day I was so overwhelmed. It's definitely a different world to any other grade, and I just wanted to sit on the carpet and cry. So I hope this will alleviate some of that stress from your daily lives next year and whenever you are working with the book. And I just wish you all the best. And I hope this is going to be something that you can introduce in your classroom, in your homes, and it's going to be a lifesaver for you. All the best. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Monique. They look absolutely incredible. And just to tell you that Iana, well, I just saw a message from Iana about attendance, but just to tell you that in June 2027, Monique is also going to have the English home language teacher guides for grade 1 to 3 and the English first additional language guides for grade 1 to 3 ready for you. And that is the beauty of Tippie, that you can start in grade R and you can finish with Tippie as a progressive sequential approach to English at the end of the foundation phase. We did it very specifically in that way so that there are no gaps, so that children have the building blocks that are required at the end of the foundation phase to be children that can read with comprehension. And we truly believe that if you join Tippie throughout the foundation phase, that you will have children that can read with comprehension. And it very shortly is ready, set, grade R. Kornai,
Thank
Diana.
you. Let me just get myself on the screen. My machine is still on holiday mode. Okay, I'll ask the question and then I'll try again. There we go. So there was a question, Reinette, asking, it looks like the books, the maths ones, are workbooks for learners. If so, does that mean each learner need to have their own book, as there is a lot of work to be done, like writing, coloring, and cutting?
Yes, absolutely. So the majority of these publications, the books, the recommendations for grade R require children to have their own set of books. But never fear when Tippie's near. When you need to bulk buy or plan or budget for your grade R class, please chat to one of the agents, to Cornay, to Iana. All the details are in the catalog, and you can ask for a bit of bulk discount for your school. The reason these are activity books is because we want active participation, engagement. It's age appropriate that children are participating in the learning process. But we also realize that your time and energy, what should teachers do? Teachers should teach. And everything that you need, all your prep, all your planning, comes together in these books.
Fantastic. I think that is about all the questions that we had today. There was a question about, let me do the language one first. There was asking if it's only for home language. Can you just extend and just explain a bit about isiXhosa and isiZulu as well? What we have there for grade R.
For grade R.
Yep.
For isiZulu and isiXhosa. At this point in time, those languages are still developing, and we only have Izinga R, book 1 to 10, as emergent readers. And for isiXhosa, we have Inqanaba R, which again would be those emergent readers. Can this replace the DBE books? Um, Schools are going to continue to receive the DBE Rainbow books. Tippie does it differently. We are going to incorporate the DBE books and those activities because if your school receives the rainbow books, you need to use the rainbow books or you need to incorporate the rainbow books. As a homeschooler, as private schools, it can absolutely be so much more and offer so much more than those beautifully colored books.
Fantastic. And then the ebooks, we've answered that one. Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think that wraps about the questions we had today. There was a couple of questions regarding orders and where people can order. And to answer that question, I have to go one step back. You will get an email after this webinar today. And on that email, you'll have the recordings of today's webinar. You'll have the slides going out. There will be a form for you to complete with your address because each one attending today gets a small gift as a sign of appreciation. And then with that, we will also send the grade R catalogs. So in there, you will find everything that Reinette and Monique talked about today. There is a price list in the back. There is contact details for you to contact anyone on that list that will help you with your orders or any questions. And then on the back of that, we also have a WhatsApp line. I will put the number in the chat line just now. But yeah, so you will receive everything that happened here today in your inbox before close of day tomorrow. And yes, then let us know if you have any questions. We are here. We are just a WhatsApp or email away and always happy to help. So with that, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, Reinette and Monique. All the best. Stay warm. It's a short week in a sense, but also a long week in a different sense. So yes, but go well. Good luck for the last week and a well, little bit less week and 2 days for all the teachers out there. And enjoy a well-deserved holiday that's coming up. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one.
Ready, set, grade
Oh.
R.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.